Hello friends, uh, my voice is audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So friends, let me start today's session. Today is day 9 of this GST refresher course, 31 days GST refresher course. Before starting and going into the topic which is scheduled for today, that is chapter number 9, which is a very broad chapter and very important chapter because it deals with the returns that has to be filed under the provisions of the GST law. So friends, we'll be starting that, but prior to that, let me make one announcement that we have already released 3 videos and have covered 15 circulars in that. Now we are on the verge of releasing the other videos also, and very soon we'll be releasing that. So friends, this is the chapter that we are going to deal with today, and this is returns like section 37 to section 48. I'll be skipping the summary part and we'll be directly dealing with the sections. But before starting this topic, before venturing into the subject, let me tell you that whenever a person gets registered in GST, the regime of GST or rather the taxation regime in the country is a self-assessment based taxation regime, meaning thereby you have to calculate your return, your liabilities. First and foremost, you need to identify the taxable event. Then you need to classify it, whether it is a supply of goods or a supply of service. Once you are confirmed that this is a supply of service, then only you can move further and apply the rate which is applicable to them. And once the rate are made applicable, you pay the taxes, calculate the taxes accordingly after taking the input tax credit, and you pay the taxes accordingly. I believe I'm audible. I believe I'm audible because I've just added this hardware.
Yes,
Anyways,
sir. Audible.
okay. So once you determine your liability after reducing the amount of input tax credit, the amount has to be discharged as the tax liability, and then thereafter the importance or the important activity of filing the return comes. Because see, please appreciate that it is a self assessment based regime. The taxpayer or the registered person has to evaluate the liabilities. He will have to first find out whether the taxability is there. If at all the taxability is there, he will have to find out which rate is applicable. He will have to apply the valuation as per the provisions of this law. Once everything is done, then thereafter he will have to calculate the input tax credit which he is allowed to avail. Then after availing or utilizing that input tax credit, he can make the balance amount which is payable. He can discharge that. Once he discharge, you appreciate please that the department or the government is not god, so they will not come to know automatically or on their own that this is the liability or this was the liability which has been discharged by the taxpayer. And therefore there is a concept of filing of returns. You need to submit to them certain documents or certain declarations on the basis of which they ascertain your liability, and then thereafter the entire exercise of assessment or the audits or prosecution or arrest or penalties or demand and recovery, all those things start. So this is the base. The filing of return is the base, because this from this juncture till now you were assessing everything on your own, but now onwards you have started filing the statements or the returns before the authorities, and therefore the role of the authority shall get started or triggered. So I'm starting with section 37. Now friends, this is a very large chapter, I would say. It runs into multiple sections, 37 to 48, almost 11 12 sections are there. There are chances that we may not be able to complete today. That then in that case, as we have done earlier, we'll be merging it with tomorrow's session, that is chapter number 10, and we'll be taking it along. So section 37 deals with furnishing of details of outward supplies. Now, outward supply, as we all are aware, is applicable in cases of those persons who are registered under the GST or who are taxable person. I would not say who are registered, who are taxable person. If they are making outward supplies, so in that case, they need to file a return. But please bear in mind, this section will be applicable only to the registered person. Taxable person is the person who is registered or the person who is liable to be registered under section 22 or 24. But this section, that is filing of return, is applicable only in case where the person is registered. So it says every registered person except input service distributor, non-resident taxable person, person who is liable to pay tax under section 10 or section 51, that is TDS, and section 52, that is TCS. So barring these five kind of people, when I say NRTP, that is non-resident taxable person, it also will include the casual taxable person that we have discussed in one of our sessions, which was pertaining to registration, wherein section 27 was the relevant section for casual taxable person and the non-resident taxable person. So every registered person barring these five people, that means input service distributor, casual taxable person or non-resident taxable person, person who is liable to pay tax under section 10 or section 51, that is TDS, the person who is liable to deduct TDS, and the person who is liable to collect TCS under section 52. These are the five persons who are for the time being not required to file the outward supply return under this subsection. They have to file, they shall furnish electronically in such form and manner as may be prescribed the details of outward supply of goods or services or both effect, effected during a tax period on or before the 10th of the month succeeding the tax period. Meaning thereby, if it is the month of April, then by 10th of May, they will have to file the return. Or rather, I would not say this as a return. It is a statement of outward supply. It is not a return. And you, I think you all will be remembering one thing. When GST was about to be implemented, uh, the comments were given that there is only one return. Then some of the comments were that there are multiple returns, at least 3 returns have to be filed per month, and therefore it is going to be 36 returns plus annual return, 37 returns. The government was saying that there are only 12 returns. But forget about all that. I, as a person, believe that when I am bound to reply or bound to comply with certain furnishing, it becomes a declaration or a submission or a statement or a return by whatever name called. It becomes a return for me or a mandate for me to be filed, and therefore it increases or it is like impacting my compliance burden. And therefore, even if we say that this is an outward supply statement, but let us assume that this is a return only, because on the basis of this they are going to do the assessments also. So friends, further it says such details shall be communicated to the recipient of the said supplies within such time and in such manner as may be prescribed. So whatever details you are furnishing in the prescribed form and manner needs to be communicated to the recipient, because you are a supplier and recipient will have to take the input tax credit, and therefore the details needs to be communicated to him. This is what is provided in subsection 1 to section 37. Now how it will be provided, you all are aware that when you will be filing GSTR 1, he will be getting the information in GSTR 2A, and that GSTR 2A nowadays it has been a mandated document. Earlier it was ki if the credit is not being reflected in GSTR 2A, you will not be allowed to get the credit over and about 10% of what you are eligible for. That is rule 36.4. And now they have came out with something which was never expected, that is related to the refunds, that if it is not being reflected in GSTR 2A, then even the refunds cannot be claimed. So this is something which is beyond the scope of the law, but still we'll have to bear with that. Further, it says the first proviso says that the registered person shall not be allowed to furnish the details of outward supplies during the period from the 11th day to the 15th day of the month succeeding the tax period. Now, please appreciate one thing. एंड प्लीज ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड फ्रेंड्स, ये जो भी हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं ये सारे स्कीम ऑफ लॉ है। प्रैक्टिकली ये हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है, प्लीज डू नॉट डिबेट ऑन दैट, बिकॉज आप जो लोग बैठे हो अभी मेरे सामने 4,000 5,000 लोग जो बैठे हैं, you will have a feeling that what I am saying, because this is not at all being reflected, because अब जब हम आगे पढ़ेंगे 38 पढ़ेंगे 39 पढ़ेंगे तो you will say that this is not at all applicable. But see, being the student of law and being this series of sections, it is our duty and responsibility to read the scheme of law correctly, because if at all a rule has to be challenged or some notification or circular has to be challenged, it has to be challenged that it is not in accordance with law. So we'll have to be understanding, or we need to understand the provisions of the law first, and therefore I will read the sections, I will try to explain and interpret the sections as per the original scheme of law, the way and the manner in which it was perceived by the department or by the lawmakers. But finally, due to some system issues, or because of I would say under preparation or lack of preparation or lack of capabilities, or what I don't know what to say, but because of those things, even after 33 months which have lapsed, we are not in a position, or we cannot match with the scheme that we have perceived. But the scheme is already there, which is effective. So therefore, we'll have to understand and follow that. So first proviso said that the registered person shall not be allowed to furnish the details of outward supply, meaning thereby ये अज्यूम कर लेते हैं कि मैं सप्लायर हूँ, तो मैं अप्रैल का रिटर्न मुझे 10 तारीख को 10 मई को भरना है। तो इनका ऐसा कहना है कि 11 तारीख से 15 तारीख तक मैं अपनी आउटवर्ड सप्लाई की डिटेल नहीं भर सकता। तो ओरिजिनली जब कंसीव हुआ था तो ये हुआ था कि 11 से 15 तक हम इसको ब्लॉक कर देंगे, 11 से 15 के बीच में जो रेसिपिएंट है उसको जब उसका 2A में दिखेगा और उसको कोई एडिट या डिलीट करना होगा या मॉडिफाई करना होगा तो वो करेगा, तो 11 से 15 आपका ब्लॉक रहेगा फॉर आउटवर्ड सप्लायर। इट विल बी ओपनिंग आफ्टर दी 15th ओनली, दैट इज 16th ऑनवर्ड्स रहेगा। तो 5 दिन का आप लेट फीस भरिए और 16 तारीख के बाद फिर आप इनवर्ड सप्लाईज आउटवर्ड सप्लाईज को एंट्री कर सकते हैं। दैट वाज ओरिजिनली परसीव्ड लॉ और द स्कीम। सो फ्रेंड्स, दिस हैज नेवर हैपेंड, बिकॉज आज की डेट में तो इवन द डेट ऑफ फाइलिंग ऑफ जीएसटीआर 1 इज 11th, इट इज नॉट 10th। they have extended it. What is the logic of extension? As per me, I will be sharing that also. I'll be sharing that also कि क्यों उन्होंने 11 तारीख कर दिया। जिन्होंने मेरे सेशन सुने होंगे उन्होंने तो ये सुन लिया होगा, लेकिन क्यों उन्होंने 11 कर दिया उसका भी एक लॉजिक है, which most of us have never applied our mind। क्योंकि आपकी ड्यू डेट एक दिन बढ़ाने से क्या हो जाता है, एक दिन बढ़ाने से बहुत कुछ हो जाता है। विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट। Moving further, it says provided further that the commissioner may extend this period by notification for specified class of taxable person. For some specified class of taxable person, the period of filing this GSTR1 can be extended. But in our case, it has been extended for all class of persons. Further, it says provided also that any extension granted under SGST or UTGST, if the commissioner of SGST or the commissioner of UTGST grants any extension, then it will be deemed that the same extension has been granted by the commissioner of CGST also, or by the CGST also. That is the provision, third proviso. This is section 37 subsection 1. Moving to 37 subsection 2. And please be with me and try to understand these provisions. These provisions are going to be helpful for us certainly in future. I'm betting on this that this is going to be certainly helpful, because unless the scheme is deleted, unless these sections are deleted and section 43A is continued, we'll have to understand these sections in a right spirit. Subsection 2 says every registered person who has been communicated the details under subsection 3 of section 38 or the details pertaining to inward supplies of ISD, input service distributor, under subsection 4 of section 38. So every registered person who has been communicated these details, meaning thereby you have filed a GSTR1, and as per the scheme of law, section 38 was pertaining to the inward supplies, statement of inward supplies, meaning thereby the purchaser or the recipient will see whether all the invoices are being shown or not. If it is being shown, he will accept it. If it is not shown, then he can enter into that. So every registered person who has been informed about the details which they are entering, recipient is entering, shall either accept or reject the details so communicated. So whatever details he will enter, you are allowed to either accept it or reject it. ऑन और बिफोर द 17th डे, मीनिंग देयर बाई 10 तारीख तक आप रिटर्न भरेंगे GSTR 1, 11 तारीख से 15 तारीख तक GSTR 2 भरा जाएगा। उसमें जो चीजें होंगी वो आपको रिफ्लेक्ट होंगी, उसका फॉर्म था GSTR 1A, उसके अंदर वो रिफ्लेक्ट होंगी, और आप 15 तारीख के बाद और 17 तक, यानी 2 दिन आपको मिलेगा, तब तक आप उसको एक्सेप्ट या रिजेक्ट कर सकते हो। किसको? द डिटेल्स विच इज फर्निश्ड बाय हिम अंडर सबसेक्शन 1 शैल स्टैंड अमेंडेड अकॉर्डिंगली। मान लेते हैं आपने 10,000 का इनवॉइस बना के दिया, अपलोड कर दिया आउटवर्ड सप्लाई में, एंड आपके रिसिपिएंट ने वो इनवॉइस को एडिट करके 10,050 रुपीज का कर दिया। So you can accept or reject. So if you accept that 10,050, then automatically your GSTR 1 will be upgraded and it will be amended to the tune of 10,050. That was the original scheme of law, beautiful scheme of law. But it could not happen, or the success could not be achieved because of, again, the dependency on system. We completely were dependent on the system. Rather, we could have done in such a fashion that phased manner we could have gone online. But anyways, subsection 3, it says any registered person who has furnished the details under subsection 1 for any tax period and which have remained unmatched under section 42 and 43. We'll be covering 42 and 43 also today, but since these sections are mentioned, let me share with you. The government came out with this concept of matching of returns. And what was matching? It was matching of invoices. A supplier will upload an invoice and the recipient will see, yes, the invoice is correct, and he will accept it. This becomes the matching. So it says, the provision subsection 3 says, if there is anything which is unmatched, which is remaining unmatched, then upon discovery of such error or omission therein, the rectification of such error or omission in such manner as may be prescribed, then the rectification has to be done. And the payment of interest and tax, if any, in case of short payment of tax on account of such error or omission, in the return to be furnished for such period. Meaning thereby, एक छोटे से एग्जांपल से आपको बताऊं, तो GSTR 1 आपको अप्रैल का भरना था, लेट से 10 मई को। 10 मई को आपने 100 इन्वॉइसेस इशू किए थे 10 अप्रैल के महीने में, लेकिन आपने 95 इन्वॉइसेस ही अपलोड किए, 5 इन्वॉइसेस यू मिस्ड। नाउ द recipient has entered 5 invoices. Those 5 invoices are you are accepting, but those invoices अगर वो 17 तक हो जाते हैं तब तो 20 को आप उसका डिस्चार्ज कर देंगे, लेकिन अगर वो नहीं होते या कोई मिसमैच रहता है, लेट्स से फिगर का, अमाउंट का, या सॉरी नंबर का, इनवॉइस नंबर का, या कोई भी ऐसे मिसमैच रहते हैं, और उस मिसमैच से अगर टैक्स का इम्पैक्ट आता है, तो आपको प्रिस्क्राइब्ड मैनर में वो टैक्स की पेमेंट करनी पड़ेगी अलॉन्ग विद इंटरेस्ट. दैट इज व्हाट इज प्रोवाइडेड इन सबसेक्शन 3. बट थैंकफुली, एंड आज की डेट में अगर मैं बोलूँ, दी मैचिंग इज नॉट देयर, बिकॉज मैचिंग इज इम्पॉसिबल इन केस वेयर द GSTR 3B is into existence. We'll discuss that later. Anyways, moving further, it says provided that no rectification of error or omission in respect of details furnished under subsection 1 shall be allowed after furnishing of return under section 39 for the month of September following the end of the financial year to which such details pertain, or furnishing of the relevant annual return, whichever is earlier. This is the same provision that we have read in section 16 subsection 4. सेम प्रोविजन, खाली ये इतना बोल रहा है कि आपने जो आउटवर्ड सप्लाईज की डिटेल्स भरी, अगर उसमें कोई एरर रह गई और वो आप सुधारना चाहते हैं, इफ यू वांट टू रेक्टिफाई दोज एरर्स, देन दोज एरर्स हैव टू बी रेक्टिफाइड विद इन दिस टाइम लिमिट, यानी सितंबर का 39 का रिटर्न भरने से पहले, या फर्निशिंग ऑफ एनुअल रिटर्न विच एवर इज अर्लियर, तब तक ही आप इसको रेक्टिफाई कर सकते हैं, उसके बाद आप रेक्टिफाई नहीं कर पाएंगे. Provided further that the rectification of error or omission in respect of details, so this is an extension, they've extended this, and this proviso was added by way of a removal of difficulty order, wherein they've extended कि जो 2017-18 का पीरियड था, उसमें जो सितंबर 18 का जो था, वो एक्सटेंड करके उन्होंने मार्च 19 तक के रिटर्न के लिए कर दिया, रिटर्न ऑफ 39 फॉर द मंथ ऑफ मार्च 19 और द quarter January to March 2019. That was the amendment that they have done by way of a removal of difficulty order. So friends, this is section 37, which deals with the outward supply and the statement thereof, which needs to be furnished in the respected form, in the prescribed form, and in the manner. And the prescribed form is GSTR 1. For the purpose of this chapter, the expression details of outward supply shall include details of invoices, debit notes, credit notes, and revised invoices issued in relation to outward supplies. These are the rule. This is rule 59, and there is a long list of notifications because हर 15 दिन बाद, हर एक महीने बाद, हर डेट एक्सटेंड हुई है, and this is being so surprising that these number of notifications were issued under section 37 for the extension of dates at multiple number of times, and it's very difficult for us to keep a track कि कौन सी GSTR 1 की dates कब बढ़ी थी. So I've kept this chart, and we in the book we have also maintained a chart wherein all the due dates when it was originally there and when it was extended. That chart is also there. You can make use of that chart also. That chart was prepared for 3B, but this is for GSTR 1 and also. These are certain circulars which have been issued for section 37, read with the respective rule 59. And circulars, I've already said that we are already recording the videos for that. Already 15 circulars have been recorded. 16 to 20 is also under process, and you will be getting that video, video number 4 also very soon. Removal of difficulty order, as I've already said that this was amended by the second removal of difficulty order dated 31st December 2018, the second proviso to section 37. These are the relevant forms. Now moving to section 38. Section 38 speaks about the furnishing of details of inward supplies. Now friends, I would again reiterate that you might be feeling that GSTR 2 to hai hi nahi, why you are reading these provisions. But friends, please bear in mind, this is the law which exists. Unless this section is deleted from the statute book, we cannot say that this is irrelevant. Anything and everything which is written in the statute book is relevant, and it is going to have an impact. It is going to have an impact when the litigation will arise, when assessments or search or adjudication or let's say appeals will be there. We need to have the cognizance of these sections. Even for challenging 36(4), maybe there is a chance that section 38 cognizance can be taken. So we'll have to be aware of the provisions and the intention of the lawmaker. Subsection 1 of section 38 says every registered person other than again those 5 shall verify, validate, modify or delete. These are the 4 things he can do. यानी जब सप्लायर अपना GSTR 1 भरता है तो रिसिपिएंट को ये दिखेगा, और वो एंट्री देखने के बाद वो उसको वेरीफाई कर सकता है कि हाँ ओके है, उसको वैलिडेट कर सकता है, कुछ चेंज करना है तो मॉडिफाई कर सकता है और डिलीट कर सकता है. So these are the things that he can do. If required, the details relating to outward supplies and credit or debit notes communicated under subsection 1 of section 37 जो हमने already पढ़ा, to prepare the details of his inward supplies and credit or debit notes. Why he is doing it? He is doing for the purpose of preparation of the details of his inward supplies, which we are going to read later, and for which the statement also have to be filed separately, which originally was GSTR 2. May include therein the details. Now this is important, the details of inward supplies and credit notes or debit notes received by him in respect of such supplies that have not been declared by the supplier under subsection 1 of section 37. Now friends, आज की डेट में हम क्या कर रहे हैं? See, this is original concept that I will show 95 invoices, and rest of the 5 invoices you can add by virtue of this provision. But आज की डेट में क्या हो रहा है? Since there is no GSTR 2, there is no such entry, and therefore there is no such matching. So what we are doing is हम manually सब चीजें reconcile कर रहे हैं, which is very difficult, I would say, and a lot of manpower and lot of man hours is being invested, and wastage of time is there, and wastage of resource. But still I would say आज की डेट में क्या हो रहा है कि आप रिकनसाइल कर रहे हो मैनुअली, और रिकनसाइल करने के बाद कोई अगर आपको लगता है कि इनवॉइसेस 2A में नहीं दिख रहे हैं, तो यू आर टेकिंग दोज क्रेडिट्स इन GSTR 3B. And now that is also restricted from 9th October 2019 after the introduction of Rule 36 sub Rule 4. Anyways, moving further to subsection 2, then I will explain everything. Friends, I am not in hurry. We'll take time, we'll try to understand everything, and then we'll try to understand 43A also, which is the new section for the returns. Subsection 2, every registered person other than these 5 shall furnish electronically. Now this is for furnishing of the inward supply statement. Electronically, the details of inward supply of taxable goods or services or both, including Inward supplies of goods or services are both on which tax is payable on reverse charge. यानी RCM में भी अगर आपको कोई पेमेंट करना है वो आपके इनवर्ड्स हैं, meaning thereby the supplier has supplied goods to you or services to you, and the tax has to be paid by you. So as the recipient, you will have to include those also, those inward supplies also, on which the tax is to be paid by you on the basis of reverse charge. And inward supplies of goods and services are both under the IGST, Integrated Goods and Services Tax, or on which IGST is payable under section 3 of the Customs Tariff Act, meaning thereby import of goods. आप उसको भी include करना पड़ेगा, and credit or debit notes received in respect of such supplies during the tax period. So you need to include in the statement which you are going to file in the prescribed manner all these details. आपकी purchases, inward supplies, आपके inward supply जिस पे आपको RCM भरना है, आपके वो inward supply जिस पे आपको IGST भरना है, आपके वो inward supplies जिस पे आपने import किया है और आपको IGST भरना है. So all have to be included after the 10th day, but on or before the 15th day of the month. 10th तक तो इसलिए नहीं भर सकते क्योंकि GSTR 1 ही दिखे, GSTR 2A में दिखेगा ही नहीं आपको क्योंकि उसने भरा नहीं होगा. 11th के बाद आपका as per the scheme of the law the window will be open for GSTR 2, and then from 11th till 15th you can file the return in the prescribed form and manner as will be prescribed. Now provided further that the commissioner may, for the reasons to be recorded in writing, extend this period by notification for notified class of person specified therein. And again I am saying maybe it is bit harsh, but the fact is आप जितने भी notification उठा के देखेंगे 33 months हो गए सब, it has been 33 months, you see all the notifications for extension of dates, still they are continuing that GSTR 2 date and GSTR 3 date will be notified. They have agreed to a fact that GSTR 2 is never going to be notified or GSTR 3 is never going to be notified, but still all the notifications say that GSTR 2 and GSTR 3 date is yet to be notified. So the date is being extended by the commissioner by using this power for not for notified class of persons, for all class of persons. Provided further that any extension which is given by the commissioner of SGST or UTGST shall be deemed to be the extension given by the commissioner under CGST also. Moving further, subsection 3, it is details of supplies modified, deleted or included by the recipient and furnished under subsection 2 shall be communicated to the supplier concerned in such manner and within such time as may be prescribed. Now you can recollect, जब हम 37 पढ़ रहे थे तो there was a reference of section 38 subsection 3. This is the reference. So when I've edited it, modified the value or modified something or added something, in that case in GSTR 1A, I'm repeating, GSTR 1A, it was supposed to be shown, which we have never seen. तो GSTR 1A में वो दिखने वाला था, और GSTR 1 में अगर आप एक्सेप्ट कर लेते थे तो एक्सेप्ट होने के बाद जो 2 दिन का टाइम था आपका 16 और 17 एक्सेप्ट कर लेते तो GSTR 1 आपका मॉडिफाई हो जाता था. दैट वाज द ओरिजिनल स्कीम. Subsection 4, details of supplies modified, deleted or included by the recipient in return under subsection 2 or under section 39 subsection 4 shall be communicated to the supplier concerned in such manner and within such time as may be prescribed. Moving further, subsection 5, any registered person who has furnished the details under subsection 2 for any tax period and which have remained unmatched under section 44, 42 or 43. So again the same issue, अगर अभी भी unmatched है तो again the same जो पहले हमने 37 में provision पढ़ा वो same provision है, that as soon as you discover such a error or omission, you rectify such error or omission in the tax period during which such error or omission is noticed in such manner as may be prescribed. तो आप उसको करेक्ट कर सकते हैं, और अगर उसकी वजह से कोई शॉर्ट पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स हुआ है देन यू कैन पे द टैक्स along with interest. So I'm directly going to the proviso. Proviso says, provided that no rectification or error or omission in respect of the details furnished under subsection 2 shall be allowed. वहां पे क्या था, 39 के सितंबर के रिटर्न और furnishing of annual return whichever is earlier, the same is here, but वहां पे एक proviso ऐड करके they have extended the date till 31st March for the year 2017-18, but in case of GSTR 2 they have not extended because the date is by default extended and there is no GSTR 2A till date, so उनको extend करने का जरूरत नहीं था. So relevant rules and these are the again a big list of notifications, because as I've said जितने भी GSTR 1 के निकले हैं उनके साथ में GSTR 2 और GSTR 3 के extension के भी सारे notifications निकले हैं. तो all those notifications you will find here also. Even in the current regime, current dates तक वो notifications आ रहे हैं. These are certain circulars which again are same to the circulars issued under section 37. These are the forms GSTR 2, GSTR 2A. So these forms are to be filed, are the relevant forms. Now we need to proceed to section 39, which is return. Friends, before proceeding to the returns portion, let me share one thing that will have to be very clear, that section 37 and section 38 are the statements. Those are not returns. These are the statements which have to be filed, and these statements were supposed to be used for the auto generation of return. For the auto generation of return, that ये आपकी 100 रुपए की सप्लाई है, 80 रुपए की आपकी इनवर्ट सप्लाई है, 20 रुपए का डिफरेंस आ रहा है, उसके सामने अपना इतना आपका क्रेडिट है और आपको ये पेमेंट करना है. So that was the concept of furnishing of return under section 39. Now let us see what the provision says, and then we'll discuss with some of the case laws which I have incorporated this, and along with few examples and few cases which I am also arguing before the various courts. 1. Subsection 1 says every registered person. In this section you will have to be attentive. Please be with me. This is the most important section because most of the disputes, आपका ये इंटरेस्ट का जो डिस्प्यूट चल रहा था पिछले 1-1.5 साल से, which is now settled to a large extent because झारखंड हाई कोर्ट का भी एक जजमेंट आ गया, then there was a judgment of Madras High Court, then there is a matter which the GST Council has also said. वो सारा कहाँ से निकल के आया? तो all those issues were somewhere related to section 39, because section 39 में प्रोविजन है कि आप रिटर्न नहीं भर सकते, और रिटर्न जब आपका भरने का जो डेट होगा वही आपका लास्ट डेट ऑफ पेमेंट होगा. सो दे वर टेकिंग कॉग्निजेंस ऑफ दैट, बट दे हैव नेवर अप्रिशिएटेड अ फैक्ट that the law per se never restricts a person from filing a return with the tax liability payable. They never restrict. They restrict one thing, that if you fail to file for the month of March, we will not allow you to pay to file the return for the month of April. Subsequent month का आप रिटर्न नहीं भर सकते अगर पिछले महीने का आपने नहीं भरा है. That was the provision, but the provision never was perceived or conceived in a manner that you cannot file the return without payment of tax. You can file the return, but again there was a concept of valid return. Valid return, I am saying. Valid return means what? Valid return is the return which is filed wherein there is no tax liability payable. तो अगर मेरा 1 करोड़ का लाइबिलिटी था, 90 लाख रुपए का पेमेंट हो गया, या क्रेडिट था 10 लाख रुपए मेरे पास नहीं थे और 10 लाख रुपए का पेमेंट मैं नहीं कर पा रहा था, और मेरा रिटर्न अगर अपलोड हो गया होता तो इंटरेस्ट का मैटर सेटल हो गया होता. There was no question of paying any interest. The interest was only on 10 lakhs. But why and how the question of paying interest on 1 crore came? The question came only because of this confusion, and this section nowhere restricts it. Let us proceed. We will discuss, and you will see that the provision is very clear. और अनफॉर्चुनेट बात यह है कि जब भी कोई ऐसे मैटर्स लिटिगेशंस में जाते हैं, then it takes lot of time, lot of cost is getting involved, and somehow we have to struggle. Anyways, friends, every registered person except those 5 other than ISD, casual taxable person, non-resident taxable person, person liable to pay tax under section 10, section 51 or 52, shall for every calendar month and part thereof, for every calendar month and part thereof, furnish a return electronically on of inward and outward supplies of goods or services or both, input tax credit availed, tax payable, tax paid, and such other particulars in such form and manner and within such time as may be prescribed. So this is what is, I would say, envisaged or rather provided under section 39 subsection 1, कि आप जो रिटर्न भरेंगे उस रिटर्न में आपकी इनवर्ड आउटवर्ड सप्लाईज की डिटेल्स होंगी, आपके आईटीसी अवेलमेंट की डिटेल्स होंगी, टैक्स पेबल टैक्स पेड की डिटेल्स होंगी, और इसके अलावा और वो पर्टिकुलर्स होंगे जो प्रिस्क्राइब किए गए हैं रूल्स में और फॉर्म्स में. So that is subsection 1. Now a proviso has been there which says the government may, on the recommendations of the council, notify certain classes of registered person. Originally this was not there, but now it is there that they can notify certain classes of persons who shall furnish a return for every quarter or part thereof, subject to such conditions and restrictions as may be specified therein. So now the law per se has provided this exception to you, wherein you are not supposed to file the return every month, you can file the return quarterly, and therefore आपको अभी आइडिया है कि 1.5 करोड़ से नीचे के टर्नओवर वालों को क्वार्टरली आपको अलाउ कर दिया गया है, दे कैन फाइल क्वार्टरली, और नए स्कीम में तो 5 करोड़ से नीचे वालों को क्वार्टरली बोला गया है कि आपको क्वार्टरली फाइल करनी है. द रिटर्न इज टू बी फाइल्ड क्वार्टरली बट द टैक्स हैज टू बी पेड monthly. That we'll see under section 49. I think it will be dealt tomorrow. Subsection 2 says a registered person paying tax under section 10, that is composition levy, shall for each financial year or part thereof, it says financial year or part thereof, तो वो क्वार्टरली हो सकता है, बाई मंथली हो सकता है, furnish a return electronically each financial year or part thereof, furnish a return electronically for each quarter or part thereof of the turnover in the state or union territory, inward supplies of goods or services or both, tax payable or and paid, and such other particulars in such form and manner and within such time as may be prescribed. So section 10 वाले को 39 subsection 2 में रिटर्न भरना है. It is not under section 39 subsection 1. तो ये आपको ध्यान रखना है. This needs to be kept in mind कि who has to file return under section 39(1). 5 लोगों को छोड़ के बाकी सबको 39(1) में करना है. थंब रूल. 5 लोगों में सेक्शन 10 का रिटर्न था तो यस, उसको 39(2) में करना है. मूविंग फर्दर, 5 लोगों में 51 था तो उसको 39 सबसेक्शन 3 में करना है. तो एवरी रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन लायबल टू डिडक्ट टीडीएस shall furnish in such form and manner as may be prescribed a return electronically for the month in which such deduction have been made within 10 days. So within 10 days he needs to furnish a return. I'm going fast because this is not that relevant. Subsection 4, ISD वो भी उन 5 लोगों में था तो उसको 13 तारीख तक करना है. मंथ खत्म होने के 13 तारीख तक उसको रिटर्न फाइल करना है, 13th. Then subsection 5, it says नॉन रेसिडेंट टैक्सेबल पर्सन या कैजुअल टैक्सेबल पर्सन को उसका जो टाइम लिमिट था उस टाइम लिमिट को भी यहाँ ध्यान रखना है. And then it is saying it has to be filed within 20 days after the end of the calendar month or within 7 days after the last day of registration period under section 27(1). Let's say 90 days का रजिस्ट्रेशन था जो 18 अप्रैल को खत्म हो रहा था, तो उसके पहले मार्च का रिटर्न होगा, तो मार्च का रिटर्न 20 तारीख को भरना है. फरवरी का होगा 20 तारीख को भरना है. लेकिन जो अप्रैल का रिटर्न है जो 18 को खत्म हुआ इसका पीरियड, तो वो 7 डेज के अंदर अंदर भर देना है. तो इट हैज टू बी इधर 20 डेज फ्रॉम द एंड ऑफ द कैलेंडर मंथ और 7 डे और विद इन 7 डेज फ्रॉम द लास्ट डेट ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन अंडर सेक्शन 27(1). सबसेक्शन 6, फ्रेंड्स यहाँ से आप थोड़ा सा वापस मेरे साथ आ जाइए बिकॉज दीज सेक्शंस नाउ द सेक्शंस व्हिच आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस are having some impact. Subsection 6 says extension. The commissioner may, for the reasons to be recorded in writing by notification, extend the time limit for furnishing returns under this section for such class of registered person as may be specified therein. So they can extend, provided that any such extension granted by the SGST or UTGST commissioner shall be deemed to be granted by him also. Now, subsection 7. This is very important section. और यहीं से सारी वो दिक्कतें निकल के आती थी. Have you ever thought of that whether there is any last date for filing return? It is in the statute itself. Or last date of payment of tax? There is no last date of payment of tax. Why? Because this section says the last date is the date of filing of return. So every registered person who is required to furnish a return under subsection 1, other than the person referred to in proviso thereto, or subsection 3 or 5, shall pay to the amount the tax due, as per such return, not later than the last date on which he is required to furnish the return. I believe you will have to be very clear about this. See, this provision gives the last date. This provision is giving the last date of furnishing the of making the payment. So it says the tax due shall pay to the government the tax due as per such return not later than the last day on which he is required to furnish return. So therefore, if 20th is the last day, so 20th becomes the date on which the tax has to be paid. If I am delaying that payment of tax, the interest is leviable on me. Otherwise, there is no Notification, there is no provision in the law which speaks about the last date for payment.
I think there is some audio issues. Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. I think there is some audio issues. सर आपकी आवाज चली गई है लास्ट 2 मिनट से. Give us 2 minutes. We are trying to resolve the same.
ये दिख ही नहीं रहा इसमें. Okay, okay, fine. So coming back, I think we have lost the audio for 2 minutes, so I'll be repeating it again. I'll repeating in short. We were discussing section 39 subsection 7, which as per me is one of the most important sections. This is the section which says that when is your last date for making payment of tax to the government, and it says every registered person who is liable to file returns under subsection 1 or 3 or 5 shall pay to the government the tax due not later than the last date of filing of return. Meaning thereby अगर 20 तारीख last date है तो 20 तारीख will be the last date for payment of tax. This is the section from where you are finding the last date of making the payment of tax to the government of India. Moving further, first proviso said कि अगर आप proviso to subsection 1 में है, if you are that registered person, meaning thereby you are opted or you are falling in that class of persons wherein you have to file the return quarterly, then in that case the return has to be filed as per the manner prescribed. This is proviso 1. Proviso 2 that we were discussing when the voice was gone, it says every registered person who is furnishing under subsection 2, that is the composition person, the person who is covered under composition, shall pay to the government the tax due taking into account turnover in the state or union territory, inward supplies of goods or services are both tax payable and such other particulars during a quarter in such form and manner and within such time as may be prescribed. So there are different returns prescribed for different situations. So we'll be seeing that returns also, the forms also, but the proviso per se says कि आपका जो लास्ट डेट ऑफ रिटर्न रहेगा वही आपका पेमेंट का भी लास्ट डेट हो जाएगा, that is 39(7), and the entire issue of interest and the other issues that we are going to face in the near future is going to come because of this 39(7). Now what is happening, friends? Let us discuss for 2 minutes. Although the case laws I have included, but let us discuss for 2 minutes and try to understand. When the interest issue crept up, the issue was, again I'm giving an example so as to clarify, that you had a liability of, let's say, 1 crore rupees. Out of that 1 crore, you had a credit of 95 lakhs. Out of that 1 crore, you had a credit of 95 lakhs in your electronic credit ledger. Now the question was only pertaining to the differential amount of 5 lakhs which you were supposed to pay. Let's say this is the month of June. So therefore the payment has to be made by 20th of July 2000, any year, 20th of July. Next one, 20th was the day. Now friends, on 20th of July you are not having that 5 lakh rupees. That 5 lakh rupees you are not having. Issue is, can you say that because the 5 lakh was not there, I will not be in a position to pay or file the return because I am not in a position to pay the tax. That was the original question. Now अगर मुझे वो अलाउ कर दे कि आप 95 लाख की पेमेंट दिखा दीजिए क्रेडिट से, 1 करोड़ की आप लाइबिलिटी दिखा दीजिए और 5 लाख रुपए पेबल करके आप रिटर्न भर दीजिए जैसे सर्विस टैक्स एक्साइज में हुआ करता था, तो इशू ही खत्म हो जाता, क्योंकि 20 जुलाई को अभी हुआ क्या इस केस में, फैक्ट्स आगे अगर चले तो क्या हुआ, in spite of 20th July, I paid the tax or I got the money on 30th of July and therefore I paid on 31st July. So what the government is now doing, government is asking interest on 1 crore rupees for this 11 days delay. And the logic given by them is, क्योंकि आपने रिटर्न नहीं भरा, so that amount of 95 lakhs which was there in a credit or as a credit to us have never come to us. That was the logic that they were giving. After now it is resolved, but still why this is important, तो मैं वही आपको लेके जा रहा हूँ कि अगर आप रिटर्न भरने आपको दे दिया होता, एंड बिलीव मी फ्रेंड्स, देयर इज अ जीएसटी काउंसिल मीटिंग वेर इन दिस हैज बीन डिस्कस्ड एट लेंथ, जहाँ पे उन्होंने ये डिसीजन लिया था कि इंटरेस्ट को के लिए दे विल अमेंड द लॉ. In that GST council, I think 22nd GST council meeting, in that GST council meeting, they have taken this call and they have written in the minute that although there is no restriction envisaged in the law, there is no restriction envisaged in the law for not filing the return or not getting the return filed with the tax liability payable. Still, since the GSTN, that is Goods and Services Tax network, is not allowing that to happen, the issues are creeping up, and we'll come out with the amendment in the law wherein we will say that the interest is to be paid on the basis of net liability which is being discharged out of cash. So friend, that was the cause of concern कि अगर आप मेरे को 39(7) में ये डाला आपने और उसके बाद भी मुझे आप बढ़ने दे देते रिटर्न, मेरी लास्ट डेट हो गई कंफर्म, ये लास्ट डेट डिटर्मिनेशन के लिए कंफर्म कि 20 जुलाई को मेरी लास्ट डेट हो गई, उसके बाद जितने दिन डिले करूंगा उतने दिन का इंटरेस्ट लगेगा, दैट इज ओके. But since I was not allowed to file the return, the entire question of interest and so much litigations has happened. बीच में इतने सारे cases हो गए and all those stuff. So this is something which has happened because of these provisions and the GSTN. Obviously, because आज की डेट में अगर GST लॉ में कुछ issues हैं तो वो हर लॉ में थे and it has taken years together to get the law settled. चाहे वो इनकम टैक्स हो, 1961 से चल रहा है, ऑलमोस्ट 70 years हो चुके हैं उसके भी, बट अगर आप देखेंगे 60 years हो चुके हैं, लेकिन अभी भी आप अगर देखेंगे तो इनकम टैक्स लॉ आज की डेट में भी कुछ चीज़ें उसमें अनसेटल हो सकती हैं जो हमें मिल जाए. तो दिस इज अ लॉ विच हैज़ बीन just 2.5 years old, so we cannot expect that the law is going to be settled, but many of the provisions, rather majority of the problem have arose and we have faced the issues because of the GSTN, Goods and Services Tax network. Anyways, moving further, every registered person who is required to furnish a return under subsection 1 or subsection 2 shall furnish a return for every tax period, whether or not any supplies or services or both have been made during the tax period. It means in case of all the persons barring those 5 and also the composition levy dealer have to file the return even if there is no supply, even if it is a nil return. Meaning thereby nil return भी आपको फाइल करना mandated है under section 39. You cannot avoid filing a nil return, and in case you fail to file that, then there are repercussions of late fees and you will have to pay that. Moving to subsection 9, it says subject to the provisions of section 37 and 38. Subject to the provisions of section 37 and 38, which we have already discussed, if after filing returns as per the above sections the registered person discovers any error or omission. वहां पे क्या था, मैचिंग का एरर ओमिशन था. यहाँ पे है कि 37 38 के प्रोविजन को ध्यान में रखते हुए अगर आपने अबव सबसेक्शंस यानी सबसेक्शन 1, सबसेक्शन 2, सबसेक्शन 5 ऐसे रिटर्न्स अगर आपने भर दिए and finally you find out any error or omission into that, then what will happen? Other than the result of a scrutiny, etc., scrutiny, audit, investigation and adjudication, ये terms use किए गए, inspection, these terms are used in the law. So other than result of scrutiny, etc., by the tax department, in that case the person who is filing the return shall rectify such error or omission in such form and manner as may be prescribed, subject to payment of interest. अगर उसकी वजह से कोई tax liability पे फर्क आ रहा है, short payment है, then he will have to pay the interest also and then he can rectify the mistake. Now further it is said that provided no such rectification of Any omission or incorrect particulars shall be allowed after the due date for furnishing the return for September or second quarter following the end of the financial year to which such details pertain, or actual furnishing of a relevant annual return, whichever is earlier. So friends, this provision we have already discussed and deliberated a lot of times since 16 subsection 4. And the last section is, a registered person shall not be allowed to furnish a return for tax period if the return for any previous tax periods has not been furnished by him. Now, this is the point which needs to be appreciated. We'll like run through few of the cases. I would love to do that. I would love to spend at least 15 minutes now in this section. See, section 37, you have understood that this is a statement of outward supply. 38, it says that it is a statement of inward supplies, although that inward supply statement has never been filed by us to the department. Section 39 provides for the return to be filed. Return means wherein the details of outward supplies, inward supplies, input tax credit, tax payable, tax paid, and other details which are prescribed has to be entered into. Now, friends, and everywhere it is said to be filed electronically. Every section, 37 also, 38 also, 39 also. And now subsection 10 says कि अगर आपने पिछले पीरियड का टैक्स का पेमेंट नहीं किया होगा या रिटर्न टैक्स का पेमेंट नहीं रिटर्न नहीं भरा होगा, if you have not filed the return for the previous tax period, then will not allow you to file the return for the subsequent tax period. Lots of problems have arose because of this. Lots of problems. I'll mention few cases before you, and you will appreciate कि किस तरीके की problem आ रही है, and then what kind of solutions the court has given. We'll be discussing that. Just give me 2-3 minutes before it. These are certain rules which are relevant for section 39. I have included that. Notifications, again there is a big list of notifications in 39 because 39 में सबसे ज़्यादा changes हुए हैं. यही compliance हुआ है अभी तक GST law में. So there is a big list. So I'm skipping that list as usual. Then there are circulars also. These are the relevant circulars. Again, we'll be dealing, I think, first two circulars we have already recorded. And these are the amendments which are being made and the relevant forms. Now, some case laws which I would like to I would love to touch upon and also share my views into that because that is crucial as per me. Now, first case you are saying Arihant Superstructure Limited versus Union of India. It was a writ petition 3978 of 2018, which was filed before the Honorable High Court of Rajasthan. The issue in this matter was that the credit of Tran 1 and the other returns were not being able to be accessed on the GSTN portal or GST portal. So this was the issue. So in this case, the court has relied on a judgment given by the Honorable High Court of Bombay in 2230 of 2018, that is Abicor and Binzel Technoveld Private Limited. So that was the judgment wherein the court has directed the respondents to provisionally entertain Tran 1 and the other returns to be filed. Either they should open the portal or the returns can be filed manually. So that was the direction which was given by the Honorable Court in the case of Abicor, which was decided by the Honorable Bombay High Court, and the same has been borrowed and pronounced in case of Arihant Superstructure Limited by the Honorable High Court of Rajasthan. Moving further, Chamunda Papers Private Limited versus Union of India, 944 of 2018 of the Honorable High Court of Allahabad. Again, in this matter, the same kind of issue was there because of the technical issue. The Tran 1 was like not in a position to be accessed. So again, the court has given the relaxation. It was in favor of the assessee. Now, friends, you all will appreciate that there has been a number of judgments which are pertaining to Tran 1 credit. Now, why Tran 1 credit has been so emphasized upon? Reason being, let's say I started my business. I had a Tran credit of 2 crore rupees. My business is running into liquidity crunch. I am supposed to pay the liability of July, August, September 2017 I'm speaking about. But because of the technical glitches, I do not have the credit of Tran 1 in my account. There may be a situation, and this has been faced by a lot of taxpayers, a lot of business houses, that the Tran 1 credit is not shown to them, which is to the extent of 2 crore rupees. And my liability is 1 crore 50 lakhs for these 3 months, July, August, September. Now tell me, friends, because of technical glitches, because of some technical issues, if I am unable to pay, unable to see my credit of 2 crore rupees, which is a legible credit, what is the mistake of the taxpayer? Why he should arrange 1.5 crores and pay that, and in case he is delaying it, then he will be liable for interest at the rate of 18%. And in case he further delays it, then he can his e-way bill generation will be blocked, his registration can go for cancellation. All those things can happen, which is empowered by the statute. The authorities and the proper officers are empowered for the said purpose. Whereas when we say the credit was eligible, but it was not being shown on the basis of GST and glitches or technical glitches, the authorities never come forward and they say that you need to approach the so and so guys. So in most of the cases, the court have been kind enough. All the courts of the country have been kind enough, and there is a landmark judgment of Adfert. Adfert is the judgment wherein the Punjab and Haryana High Court have clubbed 102 cases, and they have given the Tran credit to everyone. A person who has filed the Tran 1, a person who have never filed it, or a person who wanted to revise it. For all the three cases, the Tran 1 credit was allowed because it was said that this is a vested right and nobody can take away that right. So the same has happened in Chamunda papers also, and the petition was allowed. Now, in this case of Clicks Capital Services Private Limited, the Honorable High Court of Delhi, the question before them was the assessee was attempting to revise the return because he could not claim the credit or some credit. So he was attempting to revise the return, but somehow was not in a position to revise it. Then the question was sent before the Honorable Court, and the court have said that the petitioner can file 3B manually. Now here is the catch which I am trying to discuss and deliberate for subsection 10 of section 39, which we have discussed right now. Now it says they are allowing you to file the return manually and ordered not to raise any demand towards penalty, interest or late fees. Late fee, if any, paid by the assessee shall be refunded to it. So अगर कोई late fees अगर उसने अभी तक भरा होगा तो उसको refund हो जाएगा. That was the honorable court's pronouncement. Now friends, आप एक बात जो technical चीज है, आपका return भर दिया, and I am very happy as a taxpayer that the court has said कि आप manually भर दीजिए, and I have filed the returns manually. But tell me, when the entire scheme is electronic, when the scheme entire mechanism is to file the returns electronically, and there is a validation within the GST, and that is the gst.gov.in. They have kept a validation. Certainly they might have kept it, wherein they have said कि मार्च का अगर रिटर्न नहीं भरा होगा तो अप्रैल का आपको लेना ही नहीं है. They would have done this. So if I am filing the return manually, where is the mechanism to inform the system, which is GST, and to inform the system that the returns for these particular months have been filed manually, and therefore you should know that these returns are filed manually, and therefore उसके बाद के returns मैं electronically file कर सकता हूँ. ये problem है. I think you are with me. Let me repeat again. Let's say I had not filed, or there was an issue for January, February, March, April, May. 5 महीने का रिटर्न मैंने नहीं भरा. I was before the court. Court has said ठीक है, कोई इशू नहीं है, आप 5 महीने का मैनुअली भर दीजिए. And honoring the order of the court, I have filed the returns manually for the 5 months. Now 6th month का जब मैं रिटर्न भरने जा रहा हूँ, तो at that point of time I am getting an error from the system, and it is not allowing me to file the return of 6 months, that is for the month of June. It is saying आपका रिटर्न जैन से मई तक का पेमेंट का रिटर्न पेंडिंग है, and you will not be allowing you to file the return of June by virtue of section 39 subsection 10. So this is something which I wanted to just raise and give a food for thought for each one of you, that only by getting an order favorable from the honorable courts that you can file the returns manually is not going to resolve our problem. The problem is going to persist. This has happened in one of our cases, Octagon Communications. I'll share that also with you. ये शायद इस लिस्ट में होगा. So this has happened in that case. उन्होंने 10 महीने का भर दिया मैनुअल रिटर्न, बट आज भी उनका सिस्टम नहीं दिखा रहा है. द सिस्टम इज शोइंग that return is pending since last 10 months, and the same in my example, the system will show that the return is pending from January, but you have filed from January to May manually on the basis of order of a court. So it is also a matter to be kept in mind that once your order is received, once you file the returns manually, you please intimate to the jurisdictional officer, to the GSTN, that you have complied with the order of the court, and therefore now it becomes your responsibility to inform to the, your means the departmental jurisdictional officer's responsibility or the proper officer's responsibility to record that in the system and mark that the returns for Jan to May in my example have been filed manually, and therefore he should be allowed to file the return from June onwards. I believe, friends, the point which I was trying to raise is clear to all of you. Now, this is the judgment of Honorable High Court of Bombay, which have been referred by us in the judgment of our Honorable Rajasthan High Court. So I'll not be taking up this. This is we have already discussed. Let me move ahead with this Anil Goel also. This again was a judgment which has been a good judgment. And then there is a judgment of Aap and Company Chartered Accountants. Again, this is my matter. This was, as per my belief, this was one of the landmark judgments of GST till date. Rather, it is the landmark judgment of GST till date. And the judgment was in relation to the availability of credit and explanation, or rather I would say press note, that they have released on 18th of October, wherein they have said that GSTR 3B का जो due date है, that will be the due date for the purpose of section 16 subsection 4, और उसके बाद जो credit लेगा तो will deny that credit under section 16 subsection 4, and therefore indirectly they have said that the return to be filed under section 39 is the return which is being filed as GSTR 3B. So we have challenged that GSTR 3B per se is not a return. We are not saying not a return. We have said it is not a return under section 39. It is not a return under section 39. And since it is not a return under section 39, you cannot impose the provisions of section 16 subsection 4 on me, and therefore the credit can be allowed till the date of filing of annual return as per the next limb or the second limb of that restrictions, which was providing two limbs. One, the due date for or the section 39 return for the month of September, or the date of filing of annual return, whichever is earlier. So since the first limb is already gone because there is no return under section 39, therefore the only limb which was left was the due date of the date of filing of annual return, which was 31st December 2020 for 17-18. And as per my view, 31st December 2020 तक आप वो credit ले सकते थे. That was the judgment which was pronounced by the Honorable Gujarat High Court in case of AAP and Company. So what has happened, we all are aware of. 49/2019 say they have amended the rule, the provision, and they have amended it retrospectively from 1st July 2017, wherein they have said that GSTR 3B is a return under section 39 subsection 1. This matter is before the Honorable Supreme Court, and we have been arguing, and now we are arguing on the same front also, that the amendment can be done. We are not against the amendment, but the amendment cannot be done retrospectively. From 9th October 2019, you can amend the law, but prior to 9th October 2019, you cannot amend the law just to negate, I'm repeating, just to negate the order of a court. So that cannot happen. That was our argument, and let us see what will happen in Supreme Court. Next is Octagon Communications Private Limited versus Union of India. It is again a very famous case. In this case also, the financial crunch was the cause because of which the returns could not be filed. And now the petitioner has approached the Honorable Court, wherein the Honorable Court has allowed them to file the return manually. But the catch in this case was also the credit. Credit for 17-18, as we have seen, that the date for availment of credit for 17-18 was extended till the March 2019 return, that we have seen in section 16 subsection 4. By way of a removal of difficulty order, a proviso was inserted. So friends, therefore, because of that date, the petition was filed that if I am unable to file the returns, then I will not be able to claim that credit, and that credit will lapse on 21st or 22nd of April 2019. And therefore, the court have allowed them as an ad interim relief. They have allowed to file the returns manually and claim the credit. That was the case. But इस केस में भी यही हुआ, जो अभी हम वापस ऑनरेबल गुजरात हाई कोर्ट में जा रहे हैं. इनफैक्ट जा रहे थे, लेकिन ये इसके बाद ये लॉकडाउन आ गया, that for that 11 months the returns have been filed, उसके बाद भी वापस 6 महीना, क्योंकि जो financial crunch था it is being continued from that particular day. So returns were filed, credit was taken, but what about the payment? The payment is being made on installment basis. So after that period the return has to be accepted. Now when I'm going to file this online, I'm trying to file it online, the error is same, that the return cannot be filed because you have not filed the return since last 1 year. So ये वही है जो मैं 3910 में अभी आपको सोच रहा था एंड कवर कर रहा था. Now next is Panduranga Stone Crusher versus Union of India. आई एम सॉरी, मैंने दो साइटेशंस आपको नहीं बताया. आप एंड कंपनी का जो साइटेशन था, दैट वाज द पिटिशन नंबर वाज 18962 of 2018. 18962 of 2018. Next, Octagon Communication, it is 5873 of 2019. Again, Honorable Gujarat High Court. Panduranga Stone Crushers versus Union of India. This the number is writ petition number 8662 of 2019 before the Honorable High Court of Andhra Pradesh. The matter was that the prayer was of the petitioner was to rectify GSTR 3B for the months of August and December, January and February, in which some ITC was like inadvertently mistake हो गई और वो नहीं ले पाए थे in case of और लिया था तो वो गलत कॉलम में एंटर कर दिया था. तो in this case also the court has allowed. I'm not reading it. PP Automotive Private Limited versus the Union of India. Again, the High Court of Punjab and Haryana. The petition number was 24600 of 2019. I'm repeating, 24600 of 2019. In this case was again कि petitioner के accountant ने कोई mistake किया था और कुछ incorrect figures enter कर दिए थे. Now see, please appreciate friends, we have read with 37, 38, 39. We have never found any place of revision of return. There is a rectification of mistake which can be done in the subsequent month, but the revision of a return which is filed is not there. So ये वही petitions है जहाँ पे कोई गलतियां हो गई, उन गलतियों को आप कैसे सुधारोगे. So it says mistake से फाइल हुआ incorrect figures of output tax as well as input tax credit in GSTR 3B and GSTR 1. Petition mailed the correct figures. जो करेक्ट फिगर्स थे उसको मेल भी कर दिया जुरिस्डिक्शनल ऑफिसर को, लेकिन फिर भी जुरिस्डिक्शनल ऑफिसर ने उसको नहीं अलाउ किया. पिटिशनर का यही कहना था कि एटलीस्ट GSTR 9 जब हम फाइल करें तो उसमें करेक्ट फिगर्स आ जाएं, देयरफॉर आई एम मेलिंग यू. बट समहाउ दैट नथिंग वाज टेकन केयर ऑफ, एंड जब GSTR 9 में ऑटो पॉपुलेट हो रहा था तो पुराना मिस्टेक या गलत फिगर ही ऑटो पॉपुलेट हो रहा था, एंड देयरफॉर द क्लाइंट हैज अप्रोच्ड द ऑनरेबल कोर्ट एंड द कोर्ट हैव सेड दैट नथिंग डूइंग, you will have to verify it and you will have to amend the figures as per the mail sent on 21st of April 2019 by the petitioner. That was the order. Next, it's a very famous case, Rajasthan Tax Consultants Association versus Union of India. Honorable Supreme Court में भी है ये केस. 12th February तक, जो 31st January 2020 को एनुअल रिटर्न का लास्ट डेट था, ऑडिट का लास्ट डेट था, that was extended to 12th February by the Honorable High Court of Rajasthan, which is stayed by the Honorable Supreme Court. So next is Sujaiva Sadanandan versus Assistant Commissioner, High Court of Kerala, writ petition number 26065 of 2017. 26065 of 2017. This is pertaining to the old assessments, so let us skip that. I have already given you the petition number. You can refer the matter. And friends, आपके जो भी queries आ रही हैं, please keep on posting the queries to us, because very soon, like I think on Sunday, we'll be having the query session. Now see, since we have advanced our studies now and we have covered many case laws and many provisions now, returns तक हम पहुंच गए, तो I think the level of query should also raise. Tax Bar Association versus Union of India, again High Court of Rajasthan, 1805 of 2020. अगर वो 12th February वाला है. And last जो मैं इसमें कवर करना चाहता हूँ, that is Vadera Builders Private Limited versus Union of India, High Court of Delhi. The matter was petitioner has mentioned some by mistake the wrong GSTR number in GSTR 1. GSTR 1 में मैंने X को सप्लाई किया था लेकिन Y का GST नंबर डाल दिया, तो इसको रेक्टिफाई करने के लिए ये कोर्ट में गया था, एंड द कोर्ट हैज अलाउड दिस टू amend it manually. They have allowed the petition and they have said GSTR 1 to be amended manually. Friends, this was section 39, we have discussed up till 37, 38, 39. Now three important small provisions are there. Section 40, it says fast return. Every registered person who has made outward supplies in the period between the date on which he becomes liable for registration till the date on which registration has been granted shall declare the same in the first return furnished by him after the grant of registration. Yesterday you might be remembering we have done section 31 subsection 1 subsection 3 clause A, wherein it was said that कि अगर आपका ग्रांट ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन और लाइबिलिटी ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन, जब आपका रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव डेट यानी लाइबिलिटी टू अवेल रजिस्ट्रेशन से आपके पास रजिस्ट्रेशन आता है और सर्टिफिकेट का डेट बाद का होता है, तो आपको रिवाइज इनवॉइस करना पड़ता है. सिमिलरली यहाँ पे भी ऐसा ही है कि व्हेन देयर इज अ गैप फ्रॉम द डेट ऑन विच यू आर बिकमिंग लायबल फॉर रजिस्ट्रेशन एंड द डेट ऑन विच यू आर गेटिंग रजिस्ट्रेशन, इसके बीच में अगर आपने कोई आउटवर्ड सप्लाई किए हैं, you will have to file a return which is first return that has to be filed by you. I'm skipping the details. Section 41, claim of ITC and provisional acceptance thereof. This again is very important, friends. You might be remembering while discussing section 16 subsection 2 clause C that the supplier must have made the payment of tax. We have discussed this extensively, that subject to provisions of section 43 and 43A, that is what is written. So 41 and 43A, that was written. So 41 is provisional credit. प्रोविजनल क्रेडिट, कहीं पे मैचिंग अगर नहीं होता है तो जीएसटी लॉ आपको ये प्रोवाइड करता है कि जब तक आपका मैचिंग नहीं हो रहा कोई इशू नहीं है, यू कैन क्लेम द क्रेडिट इन योर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर प्रोविजनली. ये कब होगा? जब आपके सप्लायर ने आउटवर्ड सप्लाई, आपके सप्लायर ने आउटवर्ड सप्लाई में नहीं दिखाया, जीएसटीआर 1 में नहीं दिखाया, लेकिन आपके पास गुड्स भी आ गए और वो सारी कंडीशन आपने सेटिस्फाई की है, तो उस सिचुएशन में आप प्रोविजनल क्रेडिट ले सकते हो. That is the provision. So the provision says, subsection 1, every registered person shall, subject to such conditions and restrictions as may be prescribed, be entitled to take the credit of input tax as self-assessed in his return, and such amount shall be credited to on a provisional basis to the electronic credit ledger. So it is very simple provision. और मैं क्लियरली बोलता हूँ कि अगर लोग पूछते हैं कि भैया अगर 39 का रिटर्न जीएसटीआर 3B नहीं है तो फिर आप क्रेडिट क्यों ले रहे हो, फिर तो 16(2)B का आपका वायलेशन हो गया. बट यू विल हैव टू कीप इन माइंड सब्जेक्ट टू सेक्शन 41 इज स्टिल देयर एंड प्रोविजनल क्रेडिट इज अलाउड टू मी, सो आई कैन टेक credit provisionally and therefore I am taking the credit provisionally. None of my credit is final credit because the matching concept is anyways not there. Matching तो आज तक नहीं है. Subsection 2 says the credit referred above shall be utilized only for payment of self-assessed output tax as per the return referred to in subsection in the said subsection. So whatever provisional credits you are taking, you can make the payments of, or you can utilize such credit only for the discharging of liability which is related to self-assessed output tax. Now friends, what is self-assessed output tax and what is other output tax? देखिए, आप खुद रिटर्न में जो दिखा रहे हैं आउटपुट लाइबिलिटी जीएसटीआर 1 भर के और लाइबिलिटी कैलकुलेट करके जीएसटीआर 3 में बता रहे हैं और वो भर रहे हैं, दैट इज आउटपुट टैक्स विच इज सेल्फ असेस्ड. एक है कि डिपार्टमेंट ऑडिट पे आ रहा है और फिर वो आपके बता रहे हैं कि आपने 5 करोड़ रुपए के इनवॉइसेस आपके सेल और हुई है जिसपे आपने टैक्स नहीं भरा. सो वो जो आउटपुट टैक्स है वो है आपकी सप्लाईज पे ही, वो आउटपुट टैक्स की डेफिनेशन में भी आएगा, लेकिन वो सेल्फ असेस्ड नहीं है, इसलिए प्रोविजनल क्रेडिट से पेमेंट नहीं हो सकता. आई एम रिपीटिंग, प्लीज बी वेरी क्लियर. ये एक सब्जेक्ट है जो आपको पता होना चाहिए. दिस हैज टू बी क्लैरिफाइड एंड यू हैव टू बी वेरी क्लियर इन दिस. सी, आउटपुट टैक्स इज जो आपके आउटवर्ड सप्लाईज पे आपकी लाइबिलिटी है, दैट इज आउटपुट टैक्स. जो सेल्फ असेस्ड आउटपुट टैक्स है जो आपने रिटर्न्स में दिखाया, दैट इज सेल्फ असेस्ड आउटपुट टैक्स. देन the assessment or the inspection or any action of scrutiny or audit taken by the department and identifying a liability of output tax, that also is an output tax because that might be in relation to your outward supplies which has not been disclosed in the returns. तो चूंकि वो आउटवर्ड सप्लाई है और उसी से रिलेटेड आउटपुट टैक्स है, यू कैनॉट आर्ग्यू दैट प्रोविजनल क्रेडिट जो आपने लिए उसकी पेमेंट आप उससे कर सकते हैं. नो, प्रोविजनल क्रेडिट कैन बी used only for making payment of self-assessed output tax, not for making the payment which was not self assessed output tax. That is the point. Please keep this in mind, because वो आपको सर्च होती है, वहां से आता है और आपके पास 5 करोड़ का क्रेडिट पड़ा है, उसके सामने 5 करोड़ की लायबिलिटी, यू कैन नॉट सेट इट ऑफ, यू विल हैव टू पे 5 करोड़ इन कैश और फ्रॉम द फाइनल मैच्ड क्रेडिट. तो वो आज की डेट में है नहीं. देयर इज नो क्रेडिट विच इज मैच्ड टुडे, देयर इज नो फाइनल क्रेडिट एज ऑफ नाउ. एनीवेज नोटिफिकेशंस एंड ज़्यादा कुछ इसमें है नहीं. मूविंग टू सेक्शन 42 विच अगेन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट सेक्शन, very important section, because आपको section 37 38 ध्यान होगा. There in those sections we have referred this section 42 which is relating to matching of invoices. Please read the head note of this. It says matching, reversal and reclaim of reduction in ITC. Now matching what? You have tried to match it, it was unmatched. आपने रिवर्सल कर दिया, आपने पहले क्रेडिट ले लिया, बाद में उसको मैच किया तो मैच नहीं हुआ, बाद में आपने उसको रिवर्सल कर दिया. जो हमने उसमें पढ़ा कि आपका कोई मिस्टेक रह गया तो आप उसको रिवर्स कर दीजिए, टैक्स और इंटरेस्ट के साथ भर दीजिए, और बाद में जब वो मैच हो गया तो आपने क्लेम कर लिया. दैट इज रिक्लेमेशन. सो दैट इज द कंसेप्ट ऑफ सेक्शन 42. लेट अस read the provision, understand the provisions first. The details of every inward supply furnished by a registered person. The details of every inward supply furnished by the registered person herein this section after referred as recipient for a tax period in such manner and within such time as may be prescribed be matched. यानी कोई भी इनवर्ड सप्लाईज की जो डिटेल है उसको मैच करना है. किससे? ए, करस्पॉन्डिंग डिटेल्स ऑफ आउटवर्ड सप्लाई फर्निश्ड बाय द करस्पॉन्डिंग रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन. आप अपनी आउटवर्ड सप्लाई के साथ उसको आपको मैच करना है. इन हिज वैलिड रिटर्न फॉर द सेम टैक्स पीरियड और प्रीसीडिंग टैक्स पीरियड, यानी आगे का टैक्स पीरियड नहीं, प्रीसीडिंग टैक्स पीरियड. सो द आउटवर्ड सप्लाई, लेट्स से मैं रिसिपिएंट हूं, तो जो सप्लायर है, द सप्लायर विल हैव टू मैच विद द करस्पॉन्डिंग डिटेल्स ऑफ द आउटवर्ड सप्लाई ऑफ द करस्पॉन्डिंग सप्लायर. और कौन से पीरियड का? या तो इस पीरियड का जिस पीरियड में आपको ये दिख रहा है, या फिर इसके पहले के पीरियड का, बाद का नहीं. बी, with the IGST paid under section 3 of the customs tariff act in respect of goods imported by him. And C, for duplication of claims of ITC. जो ITC आपकी वापस से आप क्लेम कर रहे हो, रिक्लेम कर रहे हो, तो उसके लिए again I am repeating the details of every inward supply which is furnished by the recipient. वो आपको मैच करना है. किस तरीके से? करस्पॉन्डिंग डिटेल्स जो आउटवर्ड सप्लाई की है उससे, उस पीरियड या उसके पहले की पीरियड, IGST जो आपने इंपोर्ट ऑफ गुड्स के केस में थी उससे, और डुप्लीकेशन ऑफ क्लेम्स ऑफ ITC. Subsection 2, it says the claim of ITC in respect of invoices or debit notes relating to inward supply that matches with the details of corresponding outward supply, or with the integrated goods and services tax under section 3 of the customs tariff act in respect of goods imported by him. Now what will happen? Shall be finally accepted. So ये मैच होने के बाद फाइनल क्रेडिट हो जाएगा आपका. It will come out of that provisional credit of section 41 and it will become the final credit for which you are eligible. And this final credit can be used for payment of self-assessed output tax as well as not self-assessed output tax, the output tax which is assessed by the department. So shall be finally accepted, and such acceptance shall be communicated in such manner as may be prescribed to the recipient. तो आप recipient को communicate करोगे. recipient इसमें क्या हुआ? आपने जो डेबिट नोट क्रेडिट नोट आपने चढ़ाए, रिसिपिएंट ने कंफर्म किया, उसके यहाँ से कंफर्मेशन आया तो फाइनली एक्सेप्ट हो गया, एंड यू नीड टू communicate that this has been accepted. Subsection 3, where the input tax credit claimed by a recipient, recipient is who? The person who is filing those inward supply details. Where the input tax credit claimed by the recipient in respect of an inward supply is in excess of the tax declared by the supplier for the same supply, or the outward supply is not declared by the supplier in his valid return. What is happening? एक केस पहला क्या हुआ कि आपने 1 लाख दिखाया एज अ सप्लायर, जबकि उसने क्रेडिट 1.5 लाख रुपए का ले लिया, 1.5 लाख का ले लिया, या फिर आपने दिखाया ही नहीं और उसने क्रेडिट ले लिया. सो देयर आर टू सिचुएशन. वन, you have shown the credit, shown the amount, but the amount for which the credit has been taken is a higher amount, or two, the amount has not at all been shown by the supplier. So the discrepancy shall be communicated to both the persons in such manner as may be prescribed. तो मेल से जाएगा दोनों के पास, दोनों को कम्युनिकेट होगा कि आपके मैच इसमें ये मिसमैच हो रहा है, आपने 1.5 लाख का क्रेडिट ले लिया जबकि 1 लाख बता रहे हैं, तो विच इज करेक्ट, या आपने क्रेडिट दिखाया ही नहीं और उसने इस इनवॉइस का क्रेडिट ले लिया, तो विच इज करेक्ट. सो दैट इज हाउ द मैचिंग विल बी डन. Subsection 4, duplication of claims of ITC shall be communicated to the recipient in such manner as may be prescribed. If there is any duplication, then it will be communicated to the recipient who is claiming that ITC. If any discrepancy found as per subsection 3 is not rectified in the monthly return of that month in which the amount shall be added, तो उसमें क्या हुआ कि जब आपको सबसेक्शन 3 में मिस्टेक मिली और आपने इंटीमेट कर दिया, इंटीमेट करने के बाद उसको रेक्टिफिकेशन करना है उसी मंथ में, और नेक्स्ट मंथ की आउटवर्ड लायबिलिटी में या जो भी केस है उसके हिसाब से आपको रेक्टिफाई कर देना. सो इट इज सेइंग इज नॉट रेक्टिफाइड, यू हैव नॉट रेक्टिफाइड इन द नेक्स्ट मंथ, द अमाउंट शैल बी एडेड टू द आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी ऑफ रिसिपिएंट फॉर द नेक्स्ट मंथ. तो जो भी डिफरेंशियल अमाउंट होगा, मिसमैच्ड या अनमैच्ड अमाउंट होगा, उस अमाउंट को आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी में, जो रेसिपिएंट की आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी है उसके अंदर ऐड कर दिया जाएगा. नेक्स्ट इज अमाउंट क्लेम्ड एज आईटीसी is found to be in excess of on account of duplication of claims. जो आपने अमाउंट क्लेम किया OTC का, उसको डुप्लीकेट क्लेम्स ले लिए, इसकी वजह से वो ज़्यादा माना गया कि ज़्यादा ले लिया आपने, तो दैट अगेन शैल बी एडेड टू आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी of the recipient in his return for the month in which duplication is communicated. Subsection 7, the recipient shall be eligible to reduce from his output tax liability the amount added under subsection 5. जो यहाँ पे जो बात हुआ कि डिस्क्रिपेंसी उसने करेक्ट नहीं किया तो उसके आउटपुट लायबिलिटी में ऐड हो गया, तो उसके लिए बोल रहा है कि वो रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं उसकी आउटपुट लायबिलिटी में जो सबसेक्शन 5 में ऐड किया था. कब? if the supplier declares that the details of the invoice or the debit note in his valid return within the time specified in subsection 9 of section 39, अगर वो within the time limit में, जो टाइम लिमिट है सितंबर का रिटर्न और एनुअल रिटर्न, उसके अंदर अंदर अगर सप्लायर डिक्लेयर कर देता है तो वापस से उसकी आउटपुट लायबिलिटी को उस वैल्यू से रिड्यूस कर देंगे. दैट इज सबसेक्शन 7. नाउ व्हाट इज सबसेक्शन 8? इट सेज अ रेसिपिएंट इन हुज आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी एनी अमाउंट हैज बीन एडेड अंडर सबसेक्शन 5 or subsection 6. A recipient in whose output liability any amount has been added under subsection 5 or 6 shall be liable to pay interest as per section 50 for the period starting from the date of availment of credit till the corresponding additions are made under the said subsections. So they will have to make the payment of interest from the date जब उन्होंने क्रेडिट लिया था और तब तक जब ये एडिशंस आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी में आप कर रहे हो तब तक के पीरियड का उसको इंटरेस्ट पे करना पड़ेगा. Where any reduction in output tax liability is accepted, where any reduction in output tax liability is accepted under subsection 7, the interest paid under subsection 8 shall be refunded to the recipient. अगर लायबिलिटी कम हो जाती है क्योंकि जो सप्लायर है वो दिखा देता है, तो फिर जितना उसने टैक्स का इंटरेस्ट का पेमेंट किया होगा सबसेक्शन 8 में, दैट शैल बी रिफंडेड by crediting the amount in the corresponding head of his electronic cash ledger in such manner as may be prescribed. तो उसके कैश लेजर में उतनी अमाउंट को बढ़ा दिया जाएगा और वो उसको फिर किसी दूसरी तरीके से यूज कर सकता है. Provided that the amount of interest to be credited in any case shall not exceed the amount of interest paid by the supplier. तो कई बार ऐसा हो सकता है कि 3 साल के बाद आपको पता चले और आप इंटरेस्ट दो, तो ऐसा नहीं, मैक्सिमम अमाउंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट जितना आपने पे किया था उतना ही आपको क्रेडिट वापस मिल सकता है, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं मिलेगा. लास्ट सबसेक्शन, द अमाउंट रिड्यूस्ड फ्रॉम आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी in contravention of the provisions of subsection 7, in contravention of the provisions of subsection 7, subsection 7 was pertaining to जहाँ पे आपका रिड्यूस करने का है वो आपने जबरदस्ती या गलती से रिड्यूस कर दिया, then in that case it shall be added to the output tax liability of the recipient in his return for the month in which such contravention takes place. उस मंथ में आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी में ऐड कर दिया जाएगा, and such recipient shall be liable to pay interest on the account so added at the rate as per section 50 subsection 3. Now 50 subsection 3 provides the interest rate of 24%. Since the matching is not there, section 10 of section 42 is also not effective. लेकिन मैचिंग हो जाएगा एक बार, तो अगर आपने कोई गलत अमाउंट रिड्यूस कर दिया जो सबसेक्शन 7 के कंट्रावेंशन में था, सो द इंटरेस्ट हैज टू बी पेड एट द रेट ऑफ 24%, और लाइबिलिटी उस महीने में ऐड हो जाएगी जिस महीने में आपने वो गलती की थी या कंट्रीवेंशन किया था. So friends, this is section 42. To my view, it is one of the most important sections so far as GST compliance is concerned. But since the matching concept has been deferred altogether, the matching concept ही अभी एक बार हटा दिया गया है या applicable नहीं है. So therefore we can say that yes, the section may not be that relevant now, because unless the matching concept holds good, this section is ineffective, or rather it is not of any use to any of us. The relevant case law which I wanted to cover is a latest case law wherein the provision of section 16 subsection 2 clause C has been challenged before the Honorable High Court of Calcutta, and the similar challenge has been before the Honorable High Court of Gujarat. What is this challenge? This challenge is now they are saying कि जब साहब matching concept ही नहीं है, what is the basis that you are asking me to pay the tax? So let us try to understand the fact of the case, first issue involved, and then we'll go for the, already the matter is pending, it has not been decided, matter is pending before the court, but we need to understand that these kind of litigations are already going on. It is already being challenged कि अगर मैचिंग नहीं होता, because मैचिंग का कंसेप्ट अभी है ही नहीं. Even 36(4) can be challenged on this basis, because rule 36(4) which says आप 2A के साथ मैच करिए, अगर नहीं मैच होता है तो आप 10% ज्यादा नहीं ले सकते. व्हाट इज ऑल दिस? मैचिंग per se is not there. Matching अगर होता तो 42 43 would have been holding good, but since that concept is not there, that is one of the arguments for 36(4) also. Anyways, issue is appellant is a registered person entitled to avail ITC on having paid ITC, the input tax, for purchasing the raw materials which is used for manufacture of the fixed products. Now उसके ऊपर एलिगेशन क्या था? उसके ऊपर एलिगेशन ये था कि उसको क्रेडिट नहीं दिया जाएगा क्योंकि उसने बराबर से यूज नहीं किया या उसके सप्लायर ने पे नहीं किया. So assessee has filed a writ petition for challenging the provisions of 16(2) clause C and section 42 with the prayer of interim relief. कि जितना भी आप उसका ITC डिसअलाउ कर रहे हो वो कोई बात नहीं, अंडर प्रोटेस्ट वो भरेगा. लेकिन 16(2) और 42 दोनों को उसने चैलेंज किया. And for the time being, the notice has been issued, and no interim order has been passed, and now the matter has been listed. So let us wait and watch what will be the fate of this particular judgment. Now पहले जो हमने 42 किया, let us read the head note once again so that you can link it. It is matching reversal and reclaim of reduction in ITC. Reduction in ITC. Reclaim of reduction in ITC. So what you are reducing, you are reclaiming that. अब यहाँ क्या है 43 में इट इज मैचिंग रिवर्सल एंड रिक्लेम ऑफ रिडक्शन इन आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी, दैट इज रिवर्स ऑफ इट. पहले ये था आपने आईटीसी ले लिया, वो आईटीसी आपने रिड्यूस किया, उसको फिर आपने क्लेम किया, दैट वाज 42. नाउ इट इज कि आपने आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी को रिड्यूस किया और रिक्लेम किया. ठीक है, तो लेट अस प्रोसीड. For section 43 will be proceeding fast because section 43 is similar to 42. Almost all the provisions are same. First, the detail of every credit note furnished by the registered person. वहाँ पे क्या था? It was inward supplies by the recipient. Now यहाँ पे क्या है? By the supplier. Detail of every credit note furnished by the registered person for the tax period shall be matched in such manner and within such time as may be prescribed with the corresponding reduction in the claim of ITC by the corresponding registered person in his valid return for the same tax period or subsequent tax period. You might be remembering section 34. Section 34 में yesterday we have discussed that the credit note can be issued by the supplier in certain cases, but that credit note will be holding good, and the output tax liability can be reduced only when the recipient or the purchaser reduces the amount of credit to that extent. So it is being matched here. यहाँ पे वो बोल रहा है कि वो corresponding reduction जो ITC की claims था उसके साथ मैच करेगा, और duplication of claim for the reduction in output tax liability, इन दोनों के साथ वो मैच करेगा क्रेडिट नोट को. Further, claim of reduction in output tax liability by supplier that matches with the corresponding reduction in claim of for ITC by the recipient shall be finally accepted and communicated in the manner as may be prescribed. As simple as that. जहाँ पे भी मैच हो जाएगा वहाँ पे कम्युनिकेट कर दिया जाएगा. थर्ड है जहाँ पे डिस्क्रिपेंसी होगी, देन सच डिस्क्रिपेंसी शैल बी कम्युनिकेटेड टू बोथ द पर्संस एज मे बी प्रेस्क्राइब्ड. सबसेक्शन 4 था कि जहाँ पे भी डुप्लीकेशन होगा क्लेम का, रिडक्शन ऑफ आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी को, तो वो आप सप्लायर को कम्युनिकेट करेंगे इन सच मैनर एज मे बी प्रिस्क्राइब। तो सप्लायर ने क्या किया, क्रेडिट नोट इशू की, अपनी लायबिलिटी कम कर ली, जबकि सामने जो रिसिपिएंट है उसने रिवर्स ही नहीं किया, तो मैच नहीं हो रहा है। तो फिर उसको पहले कम्युनिकेट किया जाएगा प्रिस्क्राइब्ड मैनर में, एक्शन चालू होगा। तो सबसेक्शन 5 ध्यान से पढ़े। द अमाउंट इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ विच डिस्क्रिपेंसी इज कम्युनिकेटेड। अब आपने 1 लाख रुपए का अमाउंट कम कर दिया था क्रेडिट नोट का, सामने वाले ने कुछ नहीं किया उसका रिवर्सल, तो दैट इज द अमाउंट ऑफ डिस्क्रिपेंसी under subsection 3 and which is not rectified by the recipient in his valid return for the month in which discrepancy is communicated। आपको communicate किया फिर भी आपने नहीं सुधारा, तो this shall be added to the output tax liability of the supplier। वो मेरी output tax liability में 1 लाख रुपए बढ़ जाएंगे in such manner as we prescribed in his return for the month succeeding the month in which the discrepancy is communicated। जिस मंथ में discrepancy communicate हुई उसके नेक्स्ट मंथ में ये अमाउंट, मिसमैच्ड अमाउंट मेरी आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी के अंदर ऐड हो जाएगी। The amount in respect of any reduction in output tax liability that is found on account of duplication of claims, again it will be added in the next month। Subsection 7, the supplier shall be eligible to reduce from his output tax liability or output tax liability the amount added under subsection 5। जो subsection 5 में आपने ऐड कर दिया उसको आप रिड्यूस कर सकते हो, प्रोवाइडेड कि जो रिसिपिएंट है वो 1 लाख रुपए की क्रेडिट को रिवर्स कर दे। If the recipient declares the details of the credit note in his valid return within the time specified under 39(9)। अगर वो सितंबर तक या ड्यू डेट या डेट ऑफ फाइलिंग ऑफ एनुअल रिटर्न से पहले अगर वो कर देता है रिवर्स, तो फिर सप्लायर अपनी आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी को कम कर सकता है। सबसेक्शन 8, जहां पे भी सप्लायर की आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी ऐड की गई है सबसेक्शन 5 और 6 में, उसको इंटरेस्ट भरना पड़ेगा एज पर सबसेक्शन 50 सबसेक्शन 1। तो ये सारे प्रोविजंस वही हैं जो 40 में थे, खाली वहां पे इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट की बात कर रहे थे और रिडक्शन में उसकी, और फिर रिक्लेमेशन की, और यहाँ पे आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी की रिडक्शन और रिक्लेमेशन की बात हो रही है। दैट इज द ओनली डिफरेंस। वेयर द अमाउंट ऑफ आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी इज एक्सेप्टेड अंडर सेक्शन 7 इंटरेस्ट पेड, तो आपने जितना भी इंटरेस्ट का पेमेंट किया होगा वो इंटरेस्ट आपको रिफंड मिल जाएगा इन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कैश लेजर। Last, subsection 10, the amount which is reduced from the output tax liability in contravention of the provisions of section 7। आपने गलत बता के कि सामने वाले ने रिवर्स कर दिया जी और आपने उसको कम कर दिया होगा, तो वो वापस से ऐड हो जाएगा, जिस मंथ में आपने कंट्रावेंशन किया उसी मंथ में ऐड हो जाएगा, और आपको इंटरेस्ट के साथ उसको सेक्शन 50 सबसेक्शन 3 के इंटरेस्ट के साथ उसका पेमेंट करना पड़ेगा, विच इज टू दी ट्यून ऑफ 24%। तो फ्रेंड्स, आई बिलीव सेक्शन 42 एंड 43 आपको क्लियर हो गया होगा। यू विल हैव टू बी क्रिस्टल क्लियर फॉर दीज प्रोविजंस बिकॉज दीज प्रोविजंस आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, although it might not be sounding that important because this is not effective as on date, matching is not there, but still since the scheme of law is there, this is going to be effective in the near future। Now the most important section, which is new returns। 43A 1 साल से ज्यादा हो गया सर इंसर्ट किए हुए, 1 February 2019 it was inserted, but it is not effective till date। It is not being made effective because I think the government is helpless। They were supposed to make the returns mandatory from October 2019, then it was from April 2019, now it is October 2020। ये उसी से related है, but why I am saying 37, 38, 39, 41, 42, 43 are relevant because all those sections are referred in this section, and therefore this section is also very important, or rather in future this is going to be the section। Subsection 1, it says notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 2 of section 16, it is overriding section 16(2), meaning thereby the conditions for availing input tax credit is overriding that। Even if you satisfy the conditions, still this provision will be applicable। Section 37, section 38, every registered person shall in the returns furnished under subsection 1 of 39 verify, validate, modify or delete the details of supplies furnished by the suppliers। 16(2) को भूल जाइए, 37 को भूल जाइए, 38 में भूल जाइए। 39 subsection 1 जो रिटर्न भर रहा है, he will have to verify, validate or modify or delete the details of the supplies which are furnished by the supplier, that is subsection 1। Subsection 2, again a non-absent clause, it says notwithstanding anything contained in section 41 जो provisional credit था, section 42 जो matching था, और section 43 जो again matching था, इसलिए ये sections relevant है। The procedure for availing of input tax credit by the recipient and verification thereof shall be such as may be prescribed. So after the effectiveness of this particular section, there may arise a situation wherein they will come out with a separate rule or a different rule for the purpose of availing the input tax credit by the recipient, because they have overridden 41, 42, 43, 16 to 37, 38. Everything has been overridden. The procedure, subsection 3, the procedure for furnishing the details of outward supply by the supplier on the common portal for the purposes of availing input tax credit shall be as may be prescribed. So they will prescribe. So everything is as may be prescribed under this subsection, this section as of now. Subsection 4. This is from where Rule 36(4) has taken birth. I'm very sure about it because they were not in a position to impose the provisions or make section 43A effective, and therefore they have made 36(4) in lieu of section 43A subsection 4. सबसेक्शन 4 को आप पढ़ेंगे तो आपको 36(4) ही याद आएगा. The procedure for availing input tax credit in respect of outward supplies not furnished under subsection 3 shall be such as may be prescribed, and such procedure may include the maximum amount of input tax credit which can be so availed not exceeding 20% of the input tax credit available on the basis of details furnished by the supplier under the said subsection. This is same provision which is there in 36(4). आपके सप्लायर ने अगर रिपोर्ट नहीं किया तो जितना आपके पास क्रेडिट है उसका 20%, अभी जो 10% हो गया उतना आप मैक्सिमम ले सकते हैं. यहाँ पे भी वही बोल रहा है कि अगर उसने नहीं किया तो आप 20% तक ले सकते हैं. दिस इज 43A subsection 4 which is ineffective till date. Subsection 5, the amount of tax specified in outward supplies for which details have been furnished by the supplier under subsection 3 shall be deemed to be the tax payable by him under the provisions of the act. Very clear. जो 37 में अगर आप आउटवर्ड सप्लाई दिखा देते हैं तो आपकी लाइबिलिटी हो जाती है. The supplier and the recipient of the supply shall jointly and severally liable to pay tax. यहाँ पे इसने jointly and severally liable बता दिया, और to pay the input tax credit availed as the case may be in relation to outward supplies for which the details have been furnished under subsection 3 or subsection 4 but the return thereof has not been furnished. Now please appreciate friends, ये issue क्यों आया? ये issue इसलिए आया because council have received lot of representations wherein the business houses were saying that I am making payment to my supplier and the supplier is in turn not making the payment to the government. You can go and catch hold of the supplier, of my supplier. If he is not there, then I am not liable for reversing my ITC or paying back the ITC, because that will be double taxation and which will be a huge hardship cost to me, और मेरा business तक बंद हो सकता है. Then the government has said in one of the council meeting that okay fine, what we are anyways amending the law. हम क्या करेंगे, हम पहले जो है ढूंढेंगे कि आपका सप्लायर है कि नहीं. वी विल टेक ऑल द रीजनेबल मेजर्स टू कैच होल्ड ऑफ योर सप्लायर. अगर वो नहीं मिलता देन इन दैट केस वी विल मेक यू जॉइंटली एंड सेवरली लायबल. अगर वो नहीं मिलता, हमने सारे एफर्ट्स डाल लिए और वो नहीं मिल रहा है, तो हम आपसे लायबिलिटी वसूल करेंगे. माय फ्रेंड्स, this is very unfortunate because in most of the cases I pretend and I presume that they are not going to take any action against the supplier who is absconding. They will simply catch hold of the recipient and ask him to pay the tax. So no relief will be given unless it is challenged and upheld by the or read down by the court of law, this provision. Subsection 7, for the purposes of subsection 6 the recovery shall be made in such manner as may be prescribed, and such procedure may provide for non-recovery of an amount of tax or input tax credit wrongly availed not exceeding 1000 rupees. 1000 तक छोड़ दिया, उसके ऊपर के लिए they will come out with a separate rule for the purpose of recovery of that particular tax, and 99.9% I am very sure that the recoveries are to be done from the recipients also only, because supplier is anyways absconding. जो गलत काम करेगा he will not be found there and the department will catch hold of the recipient. Subsection 8, the procedure, safeguard and the threshold of the tax amount. Procedure, safeguards and threshold of the tax amount in relation to outward supplies, the details of which can be furnished under subsection 3 by the registered person. First, within 6 months of taking registration. Second, who has defaulted in payment of tax and where such default has continued for more than 2 months from the due date of payment of such defaulted amount shall be such as may be prescribed. So जो प्रोसीजर, सेफगार्ड या थ्रेशोल्ड रहेगा जो टैक्स अमाउंट है आउटवर्ड सप्लाई से रिलेटेड, उसके लिए they will come out with separate guidelines and separate rules which will prescribe the procedure. And for the timing they are saying कि subsection 3 के हिसाब से जो registered person भरेगा वो within 6 months of the taking registration, and जो डिफॉल्ट कर रहा है वो 2 महीने तक डिफॉल्ट अगर उसका कंटिन्यू रहा तो दो सेफगार्ड्स हैं वो एप्लीकेबल हो जाएंगे, they will start. So maximum now the non-mentioning or credit that you can take is maximum for the period of 2 months. आप 2 महीने तक क्रेडिट ले सकते हैं, तीसरे महीने में आपके पास रिकवरी आ जाएगी अगर सामने वाले ने नहीं दिखाया तो. These are the rules. All the rules will be made applicable under this section. So I have taken all the rules. This is amendment in the law. Now moving to next section, which is section 44. We have 15 minutes. Maybe I will be extending it for another 10 minutes or 5 minutes, and we'll try to cover at least 44, 45, 46 provisions, so that for tomorrow there are only two minor sections, which is 47 and 48. 44, it speaks about the annual return. There is a lot discussed on this. Every registered person is supposed to file annual return, लेकिन इन्होंने अभी एक नोटिफिकेशन निकाल के 2 करोड़ से नीचे वाले जो लोग थे उनके लिए एनुअल रिटर्न को इन्होंने बोला कि अगर आप नहीं भरोगे तो चलेगा. बट उन्होंने ऐसा बोला कि आप नहीं भरोगे तो चलेगा, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं था कि एनुअल रिटर्न से आपको वेव कर दिया. उन्होंने साथ में ये भी बोला कि अगर आप नहीं भरोगे तो जो भी डेटा आपका है मान लिया जाएगा कि एनुअल रिटर्न आपका भर दिया गया और वही डेटा आपका एक्यूरेट डेटा है. So that kind of notification they have brought in. So they are saying every registered person barring these 5%, again the same 5%, has to furnish an annual return on every financial year, for every financial year electronically in such form and manner as may be prescribed. They will have to fill it, that is GSTR 9 is the form, and the manner is annually it has to be filed on or before the 31st day of December following the end of this financial year. यानी 18-19 का 31st December 2019, 19-20 का 31st December 2020. That is the original date. Now आपने नोट किया होगा कि there have been extension of the dates for 17-18. दिसंबर था, फिर मार्च हुआ, फिर जून हुआ, फिर नवंबर हुआ, फिर अगस्त हुआ, फिर नवंबर हुआ, उसके बाद दिसंबर हुआ, फिर जाके जनवरी हुआ. तो these extensions were not within the authority of law. These extensions were by invoking the provisions and the powers under the removal of difficulty order. तो सारे removal of difficulty order थे, but now they have amended the law from 1st January 2020. और अभी आप देखेंगे जो अभी 3 अप्रैल का जो एक्सटेंशन आया जो 30 जून तक किया, that is by way of this proviso. So now they have added a proviso wherein they have empowered the commissioner that he, on the recommendation of the council and for the reasons to be recorded in writing by notification, extend the time limit for furnishing the annual return for such class of registered person as may be specified therein. Further, it is provided that any extension of time limit notified by the Commissioner of State or Union Territory shall be deemed to be notified by the Commissioner. तो फ्रेंड्स अभी जो नोटिफिकेशन रिसेंट आया है that is being notified under the section 44. Otherwise all the earlier extensions were by virtue of the removal of difficulty orders. Subsection 2 of section 44, which speaks about the reconciliation statement, that along with the annual return you are supposed to file the reconciliation statement and the audit report in case your turnover exceeds the prescribed limit, and you are supposed to get yourselves audited under section 35 subsection 5 that we have discussed yesterday. So subsection 2 says every registered person who is required to get his accounts audited, again the word used is audited, in accordance with the provisions of 35(5) shall furnish annual return under subsection 1 along with a copy of the audited annual accounts, that is financial accounts, and a reconciliation statement reconciling the value of supplies declared in the return furnished for the financial year with the audited financial statement and such other particulars as may be prescribed. So you are reconciling and you are uploading a reconciliation statement, but that is not merely a reconciliation statement, it is after the conduct of audit under section 35(5). आपने ऑडिट किया, ऑडिट करने के बाद आप reconciliation statement बना रहे हैं जहाँ पे आप क्या reconcile कर रहे हैं, you are reconciling the value of supplies declared in the returns furnished for the financial year with the audited annual financial statement. उन दोनों का आप reconciliation करके you are uploading the reconciliation statement, and such other particulars as may be prescribed. So there are particulars which have been asked for under form 9C, and you have to upload those particulars also. Again, it is said this is the annual return for the period 1st July September to August. It was extended. Shall be furnished on or before 31st January 2020, and the annual return for the period 1st April 2018 till 31st March 2019 shall be furnished on or before 31st March 2020. So these dates have further been extended to 30th June 2020. So this was section 44. These are the extensions, notifications, and then extensions under removal of difficulty orders. These are the circulars which you can see on your screen. I'm just flipping it fast. This is a matter which is before the court. Isme, I would also like to mention one of the case laws that we have been fighting against the government, which is in relation to annual return. It is in the name of Appen Company versus Union of India. Let us discuss first Manika Networks LLP. The writ petition number is 2220, 2221, 2223, and 2224. 2220, 2221, 2223, 2224 of 2019. So, Honorable High Court of Bombay में मैटर गया. Issue ये था, because of some human error, the credit taken and utilized was not correctly reflected in GSTR in the returns, and therefore the petitioner has represented to the authorities either to amend its monthly return or the annual return. Matter is still pending, but the notice has been issued. Next is Sales Tax Bar Association versus Union of India. This is the recent judgment, recent thing. The petition number is 10284 of 2018, Honorable High Court of Delhi. The issue was कि बहुत सारे grievances आ रहे हैं, बहुत सारी problems आ रही है in filing GSTR 99C, and therefore there has to be some solution. So the notice has been served to the Infosys and the Tech Mahindra, who are taking care of the systems, and they have been asked to remove these issues and come out with a report. The respondents are said to come out with a report before the hearings. Now the matter which I was saying about the Appen Company, which we have filed before the Honorable Gujarat High Court, deals with that the annual return can be filed even if 3B or GSTR 1 is not filed, number one. That is being challenged as an instruction. And second, that if additional credit is to be taken, or sorry, if credit is there and additional liability is there, then that liability can be discharged by using that credit. That is under challenge. And we also intended to challenge already. We have not challenged it, but let us see, somebody will challenge it, that the credit also can be taken through the annual returns. If section 16 subsection 4 is struck down, then that will not be required. Section 45, final return. This is final return. Once you surrender your return, this return is to be filed. So very quickly we'll touch this with very small provision. Every registered person who is required to furnish a return under section 39(1), जिसको भी 39(1) में return भरना है, and whose registration has been cancelled, उसका registration cancel हो गया, then he shall furnish a final return. It is mandatory. He shall furnish a final return within 3 months on the date of from the date of cancellation or the date of order of cancellation, whichever is later. जो भी बाद में आएगा, या तो डेट ऑफ कैंसिलेशन या ऑर्डर ऑफ कैंसिलेशन, दोनों भी जो बाद में डेट होगा उसके 3 महीने के अंदर अंदर उसको फाइनल रिटर्न भरना है इन सच फॉर्म एंड मैनर एज विल बी prescribed, and the relevant rules are specified. GSTR 10 is the format for the or form for the same. Now we'll just cover this and then we'll stop for today. 47 and 48, these two sections will take up tomorrow before starting the discussion on section 49. Section 46. Section 46 is very crucial. It speaks about the notice to return defaulters. Now what is happening is the government all of a sudden, in few of the cases I have noticed that they have blocked the bank account, freeze the bank account, they have started recovery, they have started garnishing proceedings. So can that be done? कल जो आपने झारखंड का केस पढ़ा, कल पढ़ा, I expect that you might have read that Mahadev Construction Company with relation to interest matter, wherein it is said कि 73-74 की adjudication के बिना आप recovery initiate नहीं कर सकते. So the same logic can be applied here. If I am not filing return, then you are supposed to issue me a notice, give me 15 days time, and then you can proceed for the action under section 62, जहाँ मेरे को नॉन फाइलर्स का के ऊपर जो एक्शंस ले सकते हैं वो ले सकते हैं, लेकिन पहले असेसमेंट करना पड़ेगा, पहले मेरी डिटरमाइन करनी पड़ेगी लायबिलिटी, और उसके बाद ही आप कोई भी रिकवरी कर पाएंगे। तो ऐसे बहुत सारे केसेस हैं। Let us first see the provision where a registered person fails to furnish a return under section 39, 44 or 45, a notice return 39 यानी normal return, 44 यानी annual return, 45 यानी final return. A notice shall be issued requiring him to furnish such return within 15 days in such form and manner as will be prescribed. That is how the notice has to be issued. और उसका form है शायद GSTR 3A that will be issued to them. Now friends, there is a judgment, there is a matter before the Honorable Gujarat High Court. Sengres CNGRESS Tiles Limited versus State of Gujarat. It is before the Honorable Gujarat High Court, and the petition number is 19180 of 2018. 19180. इसमें वही मैटर था कि नोटिस दिया नहीं और उसके पहले उसकी अटैचमेंट सेक्शन 83 इन्वोक कर दिया और प्रोविजनल अटैचमेंट कर दिया उसके बैंक अकाउंट वगैरह का. The court was very clear, and they have clearly said the absolute, or rather the invocation of section 83 and the provisional attachment of bank account and is absolutely bad in law, और उसको उन्होंने लिफ्ट कर दिया. So section 46 को पहले उनको इन्वोक करना चाहिए, सेक्शन 46 के बाद उनके पास सेक्शन 62 है उसको इन्वोक करना चाहिए, और उसके बाद असेसमेंट करना चाहिए 73, 74 में. वो होने के बाद ही they can initiate the proceedings of recovery. That is what is laid down and which is the general principle. So friends, I think let us stop here for the day. I have one announcement to make now. We'll be discussing section 47, 48 tomorrow, and then we'll be discussing the next chapter, which is chapter 10. And the announcement that I was supposed to make is that we are uploading the circular series. Please refer those circular series, and if any queries are there, kindly ask those queries. We'll try to compile the reply of the queries if it is not being taken, or if we are unable to take in the query sessions, and you will be getting the reply of all your queries. That is what we can commit as of now. Rest the time will tell. So I hope the provisions that has been discussed today of section 37 to section 46 is clear to you, and I would once again reiterate that these sections are very important. You cannot avoid these sections, because for the compliance of GST, these are the sections which have to be followed on a day-to-day basis. So once again, I'm thankful to each one of you for giving me the patience hearing and being a part of this wonderful GST refresher course. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much.